Hello, good morning, children. How are you all? I hope you are all fine. Soon we will meet in the school. Today, in this video, I am going to explain Class 8 History 7th chapter Civilizing the Native and Educating the Nation, Part 3. In the previous video, we have learned about the report of William Adam, how the systems are in the Padashalas, and afterwards what changes were advised by Wood's dispatch. Everything you have learned. Now you are going to see about the agenda for a national education. The agenda for a national education. What is the agenda for this national education? Let's see. Sorry. British officials were not the only people thinking about education in India. So, here in the previous video you have learned, they have suggested, so many British officials suggested different systems not to promote the Oriental language. Instead of promoting Oriental knowledge, they have to teach English as the medium, and at the same time they should learn the European culture, system, traditions, everything, so that they can be helpful to the Britishers. Not the Britishers, not only the Britishers were asking about the education, but there are some other people. Who are they? Let's see. From the early 19th century, many thinkers from different parts of India began to talk of the need for a wider spread of education. So, before Britishers also, we have so many educated, so many thinkers are there. Okay, those people also, they were asking for the wider development of education in India. Impressed with the developments in Europe, some Indians felt that Western education would help modernize India. So, what the Indians did for higher studies, they have gone to so many thinkers, they have gone to abroad for their studies. After completing, they came and they wanted their people, their Indians also educated. That's why after observing the developments in the education system in Europe, those people, those thinkers also felt those implements should also be brought in Indian education system. They urged the British to open more schools, colleges and universities and spend more money on education. So, what they have done, they urged the government, British officials, to open more schools, more colleges, more universities, so that education will be better. Education will provide better lives to the Indians. You will read about some of these efforts in chapter 9. Okay, in the chapter 9, and that means in the next chapter you will learn. This is old book, children. There were other Indians, however, who reacted against Western education. So, some supposed the Western education, but some people, they have objected this Western education. Mahatma Gandhi and Rabindranath Tagore were two such individuals who opposed Western education. Let us look at what they had to say. So, here, why this much development the remaining other thinkers are thinking, then why this Gandhi and Tagore opposed this Western education? These two were the opposers who opposed the Western education. Then what are their views? Let's see. English education had enslaved us. That means it made us slaves. This was said by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, let's see. Mahatma Gandhi argued that colonial education created a sense of inferiority in the minds of Indians. If we are promoting Western education, it creates a sense of inferiority. That means we are very low comparing to Europe. That idea will come into the minds of Indians. This was the saying of Mahatma Gandhi. It made them see Western civilization as superior and destroyed the pride they had in their own culture. And it made it will make the Western culture superior to Indian culture. That means Western culture is greater than Indian culture. The feeling will come in the minds of Indians. There was uh, poison in this education, said Mahatma Gandhi. It was sinful. It enslaved Indians. It cast an evil spell on them. So, with this Western education, it will enslave Indians. It is a sinful education. It is not good. That was the saying of Mahatma Gandhi. Charmed by the West, appreciating everything that came from the West, Indians educated in these institutions began admiring British rule. So, after, as other thinkers, how they were influenced by the Western culture, here also, if we are promoting in India this Western education also means all will pride, all will admire the Western culture. Then who will respect Indian culture? This was the question by Mahatma Gandhi. We have to preserve our culture, our education, our texts. Why should we appreciate others? We should keep respect on our culture. Mahatma Gandhi wanted an education that could help Indians recover their sense of dignity and self-respect. So, keeping in this mind, Mahatma Gandhi wanted a sense of dignified education to the Indians, and it should prevent the self-respect of every Indian. During the national movement, he urged students to leave educational institutions in order to show to the British that Indians were no longer willing to be enslaved. So, during the national movement time also, he urged the people, he requested the students to leave all the educational institutions, that we have respect towards our Indian culture, Indian nation, and we don't to be slaves to the Britishers. Of course, we are studying in your institutions, but we are not slaves to you. That thought he wanted to show to the Britishers. Mahatma Gandhi strongly felt that Indian languages are to be the medium of teaching. Education, of course, medium should be English, but the teaching should be about the language, about the implement of the Indian culture. Education in English crippled Indians, distanced them from their own social surroundings, and made them strangers in their own lands. So, he said that education in English crippled Indians, that means it made limb, that means no hands and legs like that. Okay, it crippled Indians and distanced from their own culture. People are attracting towards the European culture. They are forgetting their culture, and this English education made them strangers in their own land. Okay, strangers in their own land. Speaking a foreign tongue, despising local culture, the English educated did not know how to relate to the masses. So, after speaking with these British officials and all those working there and studying English, and there only admiring that, afterwards, after coming from there, a person cannot face the masses, that means large group of people. Now you see, after this our CM Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy and Nara Lokesh, both of them had read in abroad. You have seen how they have spoken in Telugu. Have you ever heard? They don't know how to pronounce some such words in Telugu. That means they are completely out of our culture, Telugu culture. They have lived there, they have stayed there, they studied there, and they forgot our own native tongue, native mother tongue. They are unable to speak. Some words meanings also they didn't know. That was here the fear of Mahatma Gandhi. They can't face the mass people. Masses means large group of peoples. Western education, Mahatma Gandhi said, focused on reading and writing rather than oral knowledge. It valued textbooks rather than lived experience and practical knowledge. He argued that education ought to develop a person's mind and soul. Okay, so here Mahatma Gandhi focused on reading and writing rather than oral knowledge. Oral knowledge, no need. We should focus on reading and writing. And he gave importance to the textbooks which are having lived experience and practical knowledge. So, he supposed the textbooks. He argued that education ought to develop a person's mind and soul. If he is an educated person, that education will support to develop the mind and soul of a person. Like that, we have to be educated. Without this mind and soul development, you can't achieve anything. First of all, knowledge is next. First, we have to develop mind and soul. Literacy, or simply learning to read and write by itself, did not count as an education. So, only reading and writing, learning, this is not education. Education means something else. That is development of a person. People had to work with their hands, learn a craft, and know how different things operated. So, educated means people have to work. There should be practical knowledge. They should prepare some things. And they have to learn a craft and know how different things operated, different types of things, how they should be operated. Everything the educated person should learn. This is the thought of the Gandhi. This would develop their mind and their capacity to understand. So, when people learn the practical knowledge, it would enhance the development of his mind also. As nationalist sentiments spread, other thinkers also began thinking of a system of national education which would be radically different from that set up by the British. So, as the national movement grown up, the remaining other thinkers also, they have focused on these views and they also supported Mahatma Gandhi. So, this was the view of Mahatma Gandhi. Now, let's see about what were the views of Rabindranath Tagore. Okay. Tagore's Abode of Peace. Many of you may have heard of Shantiniketan, which he was established in Kolkata. Do you know why it was established and by whom? Do you know whom? By whom it was Shantiniketan established? It was none other than Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore started the institution in 1901. So, he started this Shantiniketan in 1901. Okay. How it was different with other institutions, educational institutions? Let's see. As a child, Tagore hated going to school. He did not want it. From his childhood, he did not want to go to school. He hated. He found it suffocating and oppressive. So, sitting in the classrooms, reading textbooks, giving attendance, reading and writing, it's a suffocating. That means without no air, breathing difficulty, like that he felt. The school appeared like a prison, a jail, for he could never do what he felt like doing. So, by the time he has more likes to do, he want to do some other things. But there, in a jail-like classroom, he has to sit, he has to obey the teachers, he has to read and write. That system he hated. So, while other children listened to the teacher, Tagore's mind would wander away. Remaining all the students, they were listening to the teacher. But Tagore never did it. He is facing the teacher, but his minds were in some other places. His mind was wandering away. That means roaming here and there, like that. The experience of his school days in Calcutta shaped Tagore's ideas of education. So, after growing up, he did not want that type of education. How he faced difficulty in sitting classroom and reading and learning all those things. He did not like that. That's why he established this Shantiniketan in Calcutta in 1901. On growing up, he wanted to set up a school where the child was happy, where she could be free and where she was able to explore her own thoughts and desires. So, after growing up, he established a school for children where the children can roam freely. Whatever their minds, they can do that. They can create and they can explore her own thoughts and desires. What the child want to do, there he gave that freedom. Tabu felt that childhood ought to be a time of self-learning outside the rigid and restricting discipline of the schooling system set up by the British. So, in this Shantiniketan, he has given a chance that children should learn practical knowledge. Whatever they want, whatever they like, we should give that freedom to make those things. And with that interest, if we develop that interest, we gave the chance, means the people, the student, the child can be able to do, and he may implement the self-learning instead of these reading textbooks and sitting in the classroom like a jail and reading and writing. No, this is not good for him. Teachers had to be imaginative, understand the child and help the child develop her curiosity. So what is the role of the teacher there? Each child is different. So according to the child's sense, the teacher should encourage the child so that the teacher also should be imaginative, understand the child and help the child develop her curiosity. The teacher has to encourage the child in what subject that child is interested. We have to create such things that she could make her own things. According to Tabu, the existing schools killed the natural desire of the child to be creative, her sense of wonder. So, in Tabu's mind, remaining all the other school systems, they are killing the desires of the child. And no sense, her sense of wonder, how much she can grow up in a natural system. That sense here, the other schooling system is killing. This is the view of Rabindranath Tagore. Tagore was of the view that creative learning could be encouraged only within a natural environment. If we create the natural environment, then only the creative learning could be developed, encouraged. So, he chose to set up his school 100 kilometers away from Calcutta. So, he had chosen a place which was 100 kilometers away from Calcutta in a rural setting, that means village background. He saw it as an abode of peace. Abode of peace means nothing but Shantiniketan, where living in harmony with nature, children could cultivate their natural creativity. So, in a village, rural area, in rural setting, so much there should be no disturbance of towns. This pollution, noise pollution, everything. And the child was given an opportunity to learn creatively. Natural creativity. In many senses, Tagore and Mahatma Gandhi thought about education in similar ways. There were, because why similar ways? Here Gandhi also encouraged practical knowledge. That he asked the students to learn the crafts so that they can do how different types of things should be worked. And here Tagore also asked the students to think creatively and give importance to practical knowledge, and in what subject they will show, in what thing they will show, to encourage the children. So, in these views, these two views are similar. There were, however, differences too, but as there are similarities, differences also there. Gandhiji was highly critical of Western civilization and its worship of machines and technology. Okay, so Gandhiji opposed Western education and Western civilization he opposed. We don't want Western education, only practical knowledge Gandhiji wanted. And he asked the students to learn practical knowledge. That means machine work and technology he asked them to learn. And here Tagore wanted to combine elements of modern Western civilization with what he saw as the best with Indian tradition. But here Tagore combined both. Freedom should be given to child, what he wanted to learn and encourage, and at the same time no textbooks, no, not like that. He emphasized the need to teach science and technology at Shantiniketan along with art, music and dance. So, not only science and technology has given importance to art, music and dance also. That means curricular activities also he has given importance. Who? Rabindranath Tagore. Many individuals and thinkers were thus thinking about the way a national educational system could be fashioned. So, after these two views, after observing so many thinkers, they have given so many ideas. Some wanted changes within the system set up by the British and felt that the system could be extended so as to include wider sections of people. Some, they have given some implements, some suggestions to develop the that education systems should be extended. It include wider sections of people. That means we should give opportunity to all the students, not only rich but all the people, whoever the whatever the background is. Others urged that alternative systems be created so that people were educated into a culture that was truly national. So some others thought, some others advised that should be only develop Indian culture, truly national. Nationalism should should be encouraged in the minds of students. Who was to define what was truly national? The debate about what this national education ought to be continued till after independence. So, till now discussions are going on this. What is truly national? Okay, whether following our national culture or learning all the kinds of things. Still, debates are going on. So, this is the lesson, children. Civilizing the native, educating the nation. I hope you understood the content. Thank you. Have a nice day.